I am Great Mother, Holy Spirit, Yin, Divine Mother, Cosmic Womb, Deep Space, the Moon, Dark. Hi everyone, happy Scorpio full moon. Getting your readings posted up. Wanted to take a moment to let you know that the April Spring Special is still going on until the end of this month, until the 30th of April. So take advantage with this full moon reading. If you would like to get your ego soul reading, that is your Western astrology, your moon sign, your Sabian symbol, when you were actually born. All of that is really important because you want to see what actual phase the moon was in when you were born, and what is the vibratory frequency of your emotional state as it relates to your intuitive sense and your Vedic astrology. And so your Vedic astrology is going to look at that, as well as the nakshatra of your moon, which is going to really give you greater insight for these readings. So people are taking advantage of that. That's awesome. This is very important at this particular time. We're talking about Aries vernal spring season and this Scorpio full moon season, which is about this rebirth, this regeneration, so that we shed everything that's old, moving into the new. That being said, the energies for the particular celestial combinations and conjunctions and transits that are occurring now, that I'll go into a little bit in your reading. Of course, we focus on the lunar energies. And so generally for your collective celestial unconsciousness of your moon sign, we'll talk about it. But it's more of an upgrade now, I would say, from who you have been and what you have been working with to manifest what your initiatives are. Okay, from the Aries new moon wishes for the new moon in Aries that were just posted for the new moon reading. So if you want to go back and look at that, go to greatmotherspeaks.info underneath the vlog tab to see your suggested new moon readings from your new moon reading in Aries. We're going to follow that through to this full moon and look at what Great Mother is saying about the rebirth and regeneration that is occurring as a result of that seed being planted for you at this time. Now, they were suggested, and so you will have your own new moon wishes, or you probably don't have any at all. If this is your first time watching Great Mother Speaks, we are looking at how we can experience our divinity as children of the Great Mother, Father, God, by utilizing the energies within us. We are made of stardust in order to always stay in the reality that we are dearly loved children of the Great Mother, Father, God, who are never condemned or left alone. That is often taken away from us when we especially experience alienation or estrangement from our birth mother. I specialize as a life coach in mama drama trauma. And so this channel is really designed as a supportive tool. It gives supplemental information and tips to my clients and people who may have mama drama trauma or love those who do. My particular brand of it is that I was born to a very loving woman, as all of us are. She expresses her love in various ways, which we see throughout the deck, the various gods and goddesses. We all have our own unique combination of energy as children of the Great Mother, Father, God, as my mother did. Excellent mother. The best. As an adult, I experienced a woman who developed a severe addiction to alcohol. And this is where the onset of my MDT took hold, okay, as an adult woman. And so I have had both worlds, and the individual that is my mother is a stranger to me. I don't know who that person is. I am open to healing that relationship as I have healed myself, and I have assisted others in healing their mama drama trauma. There may be closure in this lifetime, there may not be, but I am continually learning the lessons. And as it relates to this full moon in Scorpio, the rebirth and regeneration for me has had to do with upgrading my particular brand of loving detachment to being even more open to reconciliation. I don't feel that it will occur. There has been no indication of that other than in my interior space, Great Mother speaking to me that for my emotional health, balance, and clarity in my life moving forward, it's very important that I open my heart and expand my heart more to that possibility, as opposed to staying in the protective mode of, okay, I'm okay, I've accepted this is the reality, I'm moving on with my life. Okay, and so Great Mother continues to work with us throughout our lives. This is what I'm seeing with clients and readings that I've been doing about this full moon energy coming up. And so for your reading, you will get a recap on the suggested 5 wishes from the Aries new moon coming forward to this Scorpio full moon. I want to also let you know that Uranus is leaving Aries from its 7-year transit into Taurus on the 15th of May, which is also the new moon in Taurus. So this particular lunar cycle from Aries new moon to Taurus new moon is very, very important, because we're going to begin to have a real soul unction to seed what the desires we have been working on, how we have identified ourselves over the last 7 years. So again, just using myself as an example, how I've re-identified myself as someone who has survived MDT and now has been supporting others to live in loving detachment from their mother so that they can heal their own MDT. Now with Uranus moving into Taurus, it's about seeding that, planting that as a value in your life, and the financial benefits of that, the physical experience of that. Okay, I'm getting more interaction with people. For example, with the Mama Drama Trauma Support Group, you can go to the link on online bookings if you want to become a part of that. Anyone can be a part of that on Monday and Sunday and Monday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So much going on, see? And for you, it's probably a lot going on as well with this transition from Aries into Taurus. So I want to let you know that with that, even though Scorpio is in its full moon phase, your particular moon sign may be in its waning crescent phase or its balsamic moon phase. It may be in its first quarter moon phase during this lunar cycle from Aries new moon to Taurus new moon. Okay, Scorpio is in full moon phase. Okay, if you're Capricorn, you're waning crescent. You know, Sagittarius, well, a smaller waning crescent. You know, and et cetera, et cetera. And so I'm going to start talking about how those energies affect your reading, because I'm seeing through the readings that I'm doing that really also has a tremendous effect on present real-time issues, which is what we address each new and full moon reading. I also want to let you know that because this is the reading before Mother's Day, that I will continue the special for those of you who are mothers or who are experiencing mama drama trauma and want to have a reading, or you want to give the reading to someone who is wanting to heal their own mama drama trauma. So only for individuals who are interested in learning more about mama drama trauma does the Lunar and Great Mother Speaks reading special from regularly $85 and $65 to $50 extend from April 30th. So Mother's Day, I believe, is the second Sunday in May. Is it the second or first? Whatever Mother's Day is. Up until Mother's Day, you can still book for MDT related issues or questions in your life that you're wanting to heal as a Mother's Day gift from me to you. So with no further ado, these are your Scorpio full moon readings. Welcome to your Scorpio 2018 full moon reading, Aries, Taurus moon people. You are coming upon your lunar new year. May 15th is the Aries Taurus new moon. And so you are coming to this reading with a very strong crescent moon energy, a planting, seeding energy, And I'm very, very honored to share this reading leading up to your Lunar New Year, which is when you are actually going to seed your lunar year wishes going forward with Uranus conjunct your Lunar New Year on May 15th. Uranus will be stationed in Taurus after a 7-year stint in Aries. So very powerful Lunar New Year for you. There are a lot of other transits that are occurring as well, but I'm just going to really break it down to those two things happening for you right now, simply because we do focus on the lunar energies here, and this is an opportunity for us to look at what they were this lunar cycle as it began with Aries as the new moon 2 weeks ago on April the 15th. And now, April 29th, 30th, with the Scorpio full moon in your 7th house, what's come up? What's beginning to peek out of the soil, the emotional and intuitive soil for you? Of course, that intuitive soul is coming from your soul sidereal Aries sign, and you are emotionally reacting and responding to those intuitive downloads from the Aries with a emotional state of Taurian energy there. And so you are approaching this full moon with a feeling of freedom, of emancipation. You are feeling like there is no place like home. This is the final scene in The Wizard of Oz. Of course, this deck is based on the 49 scenes of The Wizard of Oz. Dorothy is the poster child of Mama Drama Trauma. She's the poster child of healing Mama Drama Trauma through the journey of taking her power back. And at the end, nothing much has changed at home other than herself. She's holding Toto there, which symbolizes our intuition and the Great Mother Speaks Oracle deck. And so you are feeling it. You are feeling the freedom that your intuition is offering you. You are appreciating its guidance. It's very subtle, loving guidance, just as Toto helped to guide Dorothy throughout her journey. And so we have the third eye, the Ankh here. And so we're talking about 7th house energy for you. And so 7th house energy with regard to your intuition means that you have been perhaps downloading some very important insights about what to consider planting going forward your Lunar New Year in May with regard to personal and professional relationships. Maybe you're reconsidering a relationship. Maybe you are ready to refocus on yourself as the sun is in your sign, Aries, Taurus, Moon people, in your 1st house. And so the 1st house of identity, the 1st house of self-definition is really on the spotlight, literally, of this full moon in Taurus, Aries. And so your new moon wishes are going to give us a really clear indication about what it is you seeded in the Pisces, Aries new moon that's got you feeling all freed up and looking forward to your Lunar New Year with regard to your identity and your relationships. Let's look at those wishes. The Taurus moon sign suggested Pisces, Aries new moon wishes were, I want to easily find myself trusting myself. I want to easily find myself taking myself into account in all situations. I want to attract the right information that leads to a total healing of my tendency to hold on to emotional wounds. I want to find myself filled with eagerness for exploring each new day. I want all aversions to exploring new paths totally lifted from me. All aversions to exploring new paths. I love that. Totally lifted from me. Looks like that's what's coming to full illumination for you this full moon as you're approaching it with the spirit of there's no place like home, of emancipation. So see how Great Mother works with us. She wanted us to start with these wishes to see how those energies work. And look, I want all aversions to exploring new paths totally lifted from me. You are free to explore a new path there, Dorothy. You were on a path of feeling neglected and abused, and people want to take Toto, and now you're holding him to your heart and even saying there's no place like home. Where are you, Aries Taurus, with regard to holding to your heart with this sun being reflected from your first house onto your moon in your seventh house of personal and professional relationships, being able to bring yourself back into balance with regard to some things that may have made you feel abandonment, abuse, and neglect, but now taking your power back, taking your identity back through learning to easily trust yourself. Trusting ourselves means that we also trust what our needs are. We also trust what our wants are, and we are able to assert those in loving ways. So your transformative opportunity here this full moon, Aries Taurus new people, is Nut. Nut is the Egyptian goddess of the night stars. And so we are talking about a very celestial type of astrology when we're talking about sidereal astrology. And the root chakra new moon card here is ruled by Saturn. Saturn in the sidereal course, we're talking about chakras, is the ruler of Capricorn and Aquarius. So that root chakra energy right now is your transformative opportunity with Saturn in your ninth house. So higher knowledge, your philosophies, maybe your experience of foreigner or who you would consider to be the other right now in your life, that seventh house energy, maybe a professional situation, maybe a home situation where someone is very divergent in their philosophy, in their approach, in their education, in their experience from you. Your transformative opportunity is to look at ways in which you're feeling orphaned, abandoned, left alone, insecure, uprooted by that relationship, and to realize that it is what it is. You are who you are. Again, you have two cards opening up here, the two scenes in the movie where Dorothy is holding Toto close to her heart. The scene at the end and the scene in the beginning. There's no place like home, and are you okay, Toto? Your transformative opportunity is, are you okay? This is the opening scene when Miss Gulch is shouting at Toto to leave her yard, and Dorothy asks Toto, her intuition, are you okay? That Aries sidereal energy of connecting with that soul that has a very strong pioneering spirit with that Aries, a very strong initiating spirit. Is it okay? Are you listening to what it wants to say as opposed to what someone else may be shouting, what someone else who's different than you, their philosophy doesn't align with you? Is that more important than checking in with yourself? Aries, Taurus, Moon people, are you easily finding yourself taking yourself into account in all situations? Well, that's the transformative opportunity that's coming up for you in order to do that. And Great Mother does not want you to overlook the fact that during this full moon, what's facilitating that is the prostitute card. So there is some indication that the sounds from the outside, the Miss Gulch is shouting and shooing you off and maybe giving you some feelings of neglect or, unappreciation and that sort of thing may be more of a focus. The prostitute is an energy that really makes us look at why we are doing what we're doing. What is our motivation for sharing ourselves with another, particularly for you at this time with the moon in your seventh house, conjunct Jupiter. The moon is in Libra Scorpio, and that is exactly where Jupiter is for the year until November. So this is an extremely auspicious full moon with regard to your seventh house. It's really bringing to the fore your desires. What are your true desires? The Ankh symbolizes the second chakra in the Great Mother Speaks Oracle deck, and this is a full moon. This is the scene when Dorothy is rushing back after she's run away from the farm, and they try to take Toto. She's guilted into returning back. Not very clear about what her motivations are in doing that other than guilt. Guilt is in our second chakra. Shame is in our first chakra. Guilt is about feeling bad about what we're doing. Shame is about feeling bad about who we are. So shame is root chakra energy. And so that transformative opportunity, again, is to look at that shame around being an orphan. Are you really, focusing more on, again, what other people are thinking, their philosophies, their attitudes, because Mars and Saturn is in your 9th house, which rules your philosophies, your higher learning, your gurus, your teachers. Maybe perhaps what you're teaching to another person is being challenged. Okay, in your professional and personal relationships. And Great Mother wants you to really take a look and check into why you're doing what you're doing. Why you're feeling guilty. Why are you selling yourself out? And if you are on the other end of the continuum, she wants to encourage you to continue honoring who you are and what you're doing. It's not what we do, it's the intention behind it. Again, the ankh, the desire. What is the real desire? It would have been a completely different thing if Dorothy on her own, without the assistance of Professor Marvel guilting her, had said, oh, you know what? I've cooled off. I'm ready to go back home. I'm good. But no, she was guilted into going back home. It's all about intention, all about intention. And so this is the place of intention where Great Mother speaks to us. And this is what rules our sun sign, our moon sign. It gives it intent. It gives it its inspiration. Great Mother inspires the action of Great Father, the materialization, the crystallization of life. In the center of your reading is surrender. Now, surrendering to the full moonlight in your first house is about the heart chakra, that crossroads between the ego and the soul, that first quarter moon energy, which we have just come out of, which is about facing a challenge. It's about facing a challenge, making a decision really to face a challenge. And so it's a conscious choice with first quarter moon energy when we're working with our wishes. And so the wish of wanting to attract the right information that leads to a total healing of your tendency to hold on to emotional wounds is being assisted by your unction to surrender. Now, you may be interpreting it as giving up with that strong Aries power that you have from your soul. And emotionally, the Taurus could be interpreting that as giving up, okay? But you are not. The heart chakra is ruled by Venus. Venus is in Taurus, Gemini right now. And so it's a loving energy. And so allow that love to come through from Aries. That is a self-loving energy, even though it's ruled by Mars, that is right now in the nakshatra of Chitra. And it's all about this energy saying that you are the architect of your life. You are redrafting your life right now. So it's not about you giving up in terms of surrendering. It's about you taking a break, taking a breather, as Dorothy is doing here in the poppy field. And you are reassessing your past, again, making a decision to face a challenge before moving forward. That's what you're doing right now. You're reassessing this whole kind of philosophical stance that you've taken in relationship to an important person or situation at home or at work. And you're realizing that maybe some ways in which you have been sharing your energy is not in alignment with who you truly are at this time. And this Great Father energy of this full moon sun in your sign of Aries Taurus is really giving you a boost. It's really giving you a lot of electricity to follow through with what these new moon wishes were in Pisces Aries. And so you are kind of turning a corner But before you do, you're surrendering to where you are right now with your own philosophies, with your own perspectives, with your own assessment of your relationship to the other, the foreigner, the person who's different from you. And it's not a judgmental place of yourself or of others, but it's really taking a breath. It's a freeing energy. It's a liberating energy, okay? It's a releasing energy. We see the very strong connection between the full moon now and the new moon in Aries with this desire, and these new moon desires coming to fruition at this time with the full moon. Isn't that wonderful? With the prostitute energy of Ishtar being planted by Hathor, the pleasure principle. Your new moon wishes did have to do with a pleasure. I want to attract the right information that leads to a total healing of my tendency to hold on to emotional wounds. We want to release our wounds so we can enjoy our lives, right? And that is what the pleasure principle is all about. And so in your shadow position, you may not have been aware, especially if you're watching this and you're like, oh, I didn't make that new moon wish. I don't know what she's talking about. Well, we do have suggested new moon wishes now that we're working with. And those were the ones posted for you for the Aries new moon. And whether you wrote them down or were aware of them or not, in your heart at that particular time, if you've been working with your intuitive energies as a collective celestial group of unconscious souls that share this particular aspect of your moon, you were probably wanting to shed some things in your life at that time that were impeding your pleasure, your enjoyment of life. Since that time and until the next couple of weeks going into the third quarter moon, which is what this law card is, Akhenaten, the law of destiny and free will. Is this the law? So this is the law of mystery and divine order. So the law of mystery and divine order is what you will be dancing with from now until about a week from now. And that is from this surrendering, coming to a place where you were actually accepting that there is a mystery to life. There's a mystery to what has initiated this particular purpose for this transit in your life right now, these aspects, the sun in your first house, this moon right now in your seventh house. There's a reason that you're experiencing this right now and that you're working through this root chakra issue right now. There's a purpose for all of this for you. And you're really tuning into that at this time so that you can release and forgive what is no longer serving the purposes of your wishes. And it is to have pleasure. It is to release those restricting things that keep you holding on to emotional wounds of feeling neglected, feeling unappreciated, feeling like you have to sell yourself out. You also wanted to easily find yourself filled with eagerness for exploring each new day. So letting go of those tendencies is opening up, isn't it? A lot of heart chakra energy here. You have the heart chakra right underneath the surrender heart chakra card in the first quarter moon with this waning gibbous moon right after the full moon. So right after the full moon, kind of coming to a realization of what you're willing to give and what you're willing to release in terms of over focus on the needs of others so that your true light can shine, will open you up to being able to attract the right information to lead to a total healing of your emotional wounds. As a result of your decision to surrender to the law of mystery and divine order, okay, which will come into a clearer crystallization over the next week or so following this opening up. And so you'll open up to this law. You'll open up to this discovery. You'll open up to the Saturnal influence on your ninth house, which is really about keeping your soul. That yang symbol is all about the incarnation of the soul, that masculine energy, that materialization of the spirit form, coming into its realization for its purpose at this time. And so what has been seeded is emancipation. manifestation is freedom, is the healing, is the trusting of yourself to go forward on a new path in your life through the surrendering to this pleasure that you are seeking at this particular time. Isn't Taurus about pleasure? Isn't Taurus about enjoying life and the beauty and the balance of things and the artistry of things and delicious food and delicious experiences? That's the material manifestation of that spiritual energetic frequency. That's how it materializes in the world. Isn't that beautiful? So I'm very much looking forward to looking at what Great Mother comes through and says for your Lunar New Year over the next couple of weeks. Look out for your Lunar New Year when the sun is in your moon sign. A video coming up for your outlook for the Lunar New Year. What Great Mother is saying is facilitating this process of getting clear about your desires during this full moon is that sometimes it does just take us a time to process everything that's going on. And you are processing a new you. You are processing a new appreciation for what your viewpoints are in relationship to others. And you are taking the time that you need to get really clear about what those dynamics are. And Great Mother is acknowledging that. She's saying that, in fact, that is a necessary part of this entire cycle for you. Because, again, you're coming into your Lunar New Year, and so you're kind of processing all of what has occurred with regard to whatever this relationship situation is, whatever this dynamic is. And it could be the internal dynamic of your ego and your soul. It could be about you asking yourself, what is my purpose in this, in relationship to someone I might want to have as a love interest? What do I need in that type of relationship? You could be single, or you could be in a relationship asking yourself that question. It could be an internal journey that you're making to really not sell what your needs are out. Again, the sun is in your first house in Aries Taurus right now, and it's shining a light on this Libra Scorpio moon that's all about balancing your desires. Okay, Libra, Scorpio, Libra, that soul is balancing, and the ego is wanting those desires to come out, but the soul is wanting to balance them. And so you're doing this processing. This balsamic moon energy tells us that you'll be doing that up into the new moon in Taurus. So if you are not already experiencing great pleasure right now, Aries Taurus moon people, with regard to releasing those emotional wounds and taking your own needs into account, give yourself this cycle for these wishes to come to fruition. The full moon is just about what's coming out of the ground and what weeds need to be pulled. And this orphan feeling of neglect needs to be pulled. Okay, a tendency to want to take control because of that Aries sidereal needs to be pulled, and surrender and heart chakra energy brought in to open up to the mystery of divine order. So by the new moon in May, this pleasure principle will come up for you if it hasn't already, in response to this freedom to open up yourself to this loving energy that's available for you, that's taking you a little time to process, taking you a little time to reassess what this freedom will actually mean in your practical life, how you will actually express it in your personal and professional relationships, so that by that time, your outcome is a rebirth. Your outcome is your Lunar New Year, Aries Taurus moon people. The Osiris card is the card in which Dorothy douses the witch with the bucket of water. It was completely unintentional. So you may not be aware, obviously right now, since you are still processing what needs to happen for this rebirthing in your personal assessment to occur, to reground yourself, to reseed yourself in a more secure sense of your identity in real time. You will by the next full moon. This is the waxing gibbous moon, which is right before the full moon. So right before the next full moon, within about a month or so, you will actually be feeling the rebirth. Obviously, that will be after your Lunar New Year. Okay, your Lunar New Year is on the Aries Taurus new moon, and this will be waxing to the full moon in Sagittarius at that time. So this is throat chakra. Again, waxing gibbous moon. It's all about editing, refining, revising. And when she does douse the witch, trying to put out the fire that is going to burn Scarecrow that the witch lit, she again has her path diverted into a direction that she did not expect, but which is what was completely necessary in order for her to obtain the broom. And that is what will perhaps be your experience, Aries, Taurus, Moon people, a rebirth and a death that occurs as a result of you expressing yourself anew based on the revisions that you've done, as a result of the integration of this pleasure principle and the releasing of this wounding of feeling neglected and unappreciated in your life. You're going to take your power back. That's what the broom symbolizes. It is a phallic symbol. And you are going to be able to express yourself in new ways. We know that because not only is the broom a phallic symbol, but in this scene, when the witch is melting, she's melting. It's an energy that is being dissolved, isn't it? And that's what happens with the waxing gibbous moon. It's an energy that is being dissolved as a result of the prior moon phase of a decision being made to take an action to face a challenge. And so the decision of surrender is going to allow, even through serendipitous means, for this rebirth in you to occur. She didn't know it was going to happen the way it did, and you don't either at this time. All Great Mother is saying is necessary for you is to take a little beat, take a little breath of relaxation, balsamic moon, recuperation, okay? Assessment, reflection. As she is in the bed after her journey with Aunt M, Aunt M just kind of looking at her like, okay, you just went on this yellow brick road journey. Okay, sweetheart, you just had a bad dream. And so other people may not understand you again. That's why it's right up under the Ishtar card. They might not understand your new desires, your new self. But when something is being released from our lives actively and consciously, even though it may be serendipitously, as the witch being dissolved, she had to go. And that energy had to be released in order for Dorothy to take the broom. There had to be an energy exchange. And what we're talking about is sacrifice. There's something within you about this wounding, Aries, Taurus, Moon people, that has to be sacrificed. And sacrifice is the release of something of value for something of greater value to emerge. So you are experiencing the transformation and the lunar manifestation of your dreams being realized and the exploration of each new day with eagerness through your willingness to process exactly how to experience pleasure in your life at this time. Thank you so much for watching, sharing, and liking. But above all, and most of all, remember, Great Mother loves you, and I do too.
Great Mother speaks.
I am Great Mother, Holy Spirit, Yin, Divine Mother, Cosmic Womb, Deep Space, the Moon, Dark Matter, the Void, the Black Hole, Hathor, Isis, Diana.
For more information about Mama Drama Trauma, visit mamadramatrauma.info.